Hey, what's up, guys? This video is well overdue, man. I wanted to talk about this Saturday when I got off work. I was listening to the video uploaded by IFL where Eddie and Dillian Whyte were going back and forth talking about, fighting AJ. And, I was listening to the video and Dillian Whyte brought up the clean boxing program, how he wants AJ to enroll in the clean boxing program, because he's enrolled and AJ's not, how that was one of his conditions, one of his rules, he said. And I was like, wait. I paused the video. I said, I need to sit and get to a computer and type up notes for what he is saying, because I had to respond. All right. Now, let me go ahead and get right into it, all right? These are the things that I typed up what he said. All right. We tried to make the fight in September. They waited on Wilder Fury. They made the first approach on the 1st or 14th of January. That's rubbish. You can't make a fight of that magnitude at 12 weeks' notice. That's rubbish. I wanted 20 weeks. Drug testing. I'm signed up to the VADA drug testing, the clean boxing program. Joshua is not, and I would like him to be signed up if we're going to have the fight. That's one of my rules. I want to train properly. You want to underpay me. You want the lion's share of the rematch. Talking about the third fight between them. Alright, then Dillian Whyte went on to say that he was fine with an April 20th fight, which Eddie is saying that he most likely will fight at the O2 on April 20th. All right. In my opinion, Dillian Whyte has made a huge mistake. I like Dillian Whyte. The guy fought Lucas Brown. I thought he was going to lose that fight. He dominated Lucas Brown, knocked him out cold. All right, then he fought Joseph Parker in, a pick'em fight. And then he fought Derek Chisora in a fight where he was favored, but Chisora gave him a tough fight in the first fight. Some people thought Chisora won that fight. So he has had, three, supposedly tough opponents, tough fights, back to back to back. And, hell, I thought that he should have taken a softer touch in December. I thought that he should have fought somebody that he would have been like, at least a 10-1 favorite over, because he had fought Lucas Brown and Joseph Parker back to back. We knew that AJ had an April date. If Wilder was not gonna step up, he could have fought AJ at Wembley on April 13th. So I thought he should have taken a lighter touch, just a stay busy fight. He could have fought on the undercard, could have been a co-main event, whatever. But he decided to go for the money, to take the, one of the biggest fights out there for him at the time in that rematch. And, he was successful. I think he was down on the scorecards, but, he ended up getting a knockout and winning the fight. All right, and really didn't appear to take much damage in the fight. All right. I don't think he had an injury in that fight either. All right. Now, after the fight, he was calling out AJ. AJ gets up on the apron, and some of the crowd is booing AJ, and he's calling for AJ to fight. Demand to fight. He's been wanting his world title shot for so long. He's wanted Wilder, he's wanted AJ. His dream to be a world champion. And AJ says something that that I cannot criticize him on. I agree with him wholeheartedly. The focus is becoming undisputed, and that's Wilder. So I can understand AJ saying, yes, I want to fight for the undisputed title. Wilder's first. If I can't get that fight, we can fight. I thought that was reasonable, and White was he was whining and oh come on, let's fight, no make excuses, blah blah blah, making AJ out to be the bad guy. Okay, so what happened? Wilder and his team can't respond to emails. They don't want to make the fight. They foolishly want to take on a potentially tougher fight against a guy who he already lost to, and for less money. Just pure stupidity. All right, and AJ and Eddie they make Dillian Whyte an offer. Now, the first offer he complained about, said it was rubbish or whatever. We all know the first offer's not going to be that great. That's just just making it open to negotiate. Who accepts the first offer. All right. I read an article. I don't know how accurate it was, but there was an article on here that said the first offer was $3 million. Then it said the next was 4, and then it said the third was upwards of $5 million. I don't know how accurate that was. All right. Yesterday, in an interview that was uploaded by IFL, Eddie said that it was uploaded on February 6th. If anybody wants to look it up, Eddie said that what Dillian Whyte was offered was more than 20%, which is what he would receive as a WBO mandatory. All right, now let me break down what Dillian Whyte said. I'm going to respond to everything that I read earlier. All right, we tried to make the fight in September. They waited on Wilder Fury. They made the first approach on the 1st or 14th of January. All right, now, if that's true, and I'm assuming it is, that's bad on all sides, on White's side and AJ and Eddie's side. They're all on the same team, Team Matchroom. I don't know why Eddie would not have had a deal in place, negotiated a deal with Dillian Whyte, in case Wilder didn't step up to take the April date with AJ. I don't understand why that fight wasn't made. Unless the only thing I can think of is maybe Eddie wanted to do it, and maybe Dillian Whyte said, no, let's wait. Let's see how, I do on pay-per-view, factor all that in. But still, even if they wanted to negotiate the fight in September, as Dillian Whyte said, they could have made some projections. They could have said, well, if you do this much on pay-per-view, etc., this will at the gate, then you can get this much in the AJ fight. If you win in this fashion, whatever. They could have thrown in all kinds of conditions and scenarios to come up with the numbers to make an agreement for that fight. So, just like Eddie was saying before the Wilder Fury fight, that he wanted to negotiate with Shelly Finkel. And I thought that was reasonable. I thought it made sense. Because hell, didn't they negotiate the Klitschko fight? But before they announced that fight, it was negotiated before AJ won that fight against, I think, Molina. So, totally understandable. So I don't understand why they could not have negotiated that fight before Dillian Whyte fought Derek Chisora, in case, in case they could not make the Wilder fight. All right. Now, he says you can't make a fight of that magnitude at 12 weeks' notice. I totally disagree. We know that the fan base in the UK is very strong. All right. And, they could have made that fight in January, 4 months. That was 3 or 4 months. That was more than enough time to advertise, promote that fight. People would have bought up tickets fast, to go to that fight at Wembley, man. AJ is an established attraction. It's not an issue. Also, Dillian Whyte we all knew what AJ's fight date was, April 13th at Wembley. 2019. So, there should be no excuse about when the fight was supposed to be, about how much time you wanted to train for the fight, how much time you wanted to test for the fight. We all knew. So, the guy could have taken a fight before December, October, November, taking some time off to rest the body, or take a month off, whatever, after the training camp and a fight, and then begin training for the April date. We all do the date. So, no excuse for Dillian Whyte with the date and talking about the time period. We all knew it, man. And he should have paced himself preparing in case Wilder didn't step up, which he didn't. And I don't think any of us are really surprised. All right. Now, he says that he wanted 20 weeks, which is 5 months as opposed to 3 months of drug testing. All right. He says that he is signed up to VADA, the Clean Boxing Program. Joshua's not, and I would like him to be signed up if we're going to have the fight. That's one of my rules. All right. Now, when he was calling for the fight, when he was, calling out AJ on the apron and all that, he was not saying anything about VADA, nothing about Clean Boxing Program. Now, you all know my personal stance. I want all the top guys doing some form of random year-round VADA testing. Champions in top 15 in all the major sanctioning bodies. All right. Hell, if I was a fighter, if I was advising a fighter, we would only fight guys who are enrolled in the Clean Boxing Program or doing some form of year-round VADA testing. No excuses. So I understand where he is coming from when he is saying this. However, and this is a big deal, and this made me pause the video when I heard it. And I had to sit down and I wanted to respond to this clearly. What Dillian Whyte is failing to realize and failing to mention, which I did not hear him say on the Sky interview that was uploaded yesterday when he was with his fighter that he's managing, and he was talking to this good-looking blonde. All right. Anthony Joshua is subjected to year-round VADA testing, even though he is not enrolled in the Clean Boxing Program. Why? Because he is the WBA Super Champion, meaning that it is mandatory for him to be enrolled in the VADA Fair Boxing Program. So, Dillian Whyte, this is not an issue. Anthony Joshua is subjected to year-round VADA testing. So, this is an excuse. It might not be the WBC Clean Boxing Program, but it is the same thing. It is administered by VADA. All of the same substances that are banned with the Clean Boxing Program are banned with the Fair Boxing Program. It is VADA. It is random. It is year-round, unannounced. So this is not an issue. This is no excuse. This is no excuse for the fight. So, your timeline, no excuse. The VADA testing, no excuse. All right? I want to train properly. You want to underpay me. You want the lion's share of the rematch. All right? Again, we all knew the timeline for the fight. We all knew the date for the fight. If he does not have enough time to train for the fight, guess whose fault it is? It's his fault. He was the one who wanted to fight Derek Chisora in December. He could have taken a month off, pretty much all of January. He could have started training at the end of January, beginning of February. February, March, April. He could have had him, a good 2 to 3 month training camp. It's on him, man. It's on him. You want to underpay me. All right. Now, Eddie said yesterday, it was quickly said, but Eddie said that, what he would have received for the fight would have been more than what he would receive as the mandatory. If that's true, he has no excuse about the money, man. Because as WBO mandatory, you're going to get 20%. If you're going to get more as a voluntary defense, think about it. He's going to get more as a voluntary than he would as a mandatory. That's pretty damn generous, man. Even if he thinks he's getting underpaid. That's very generous, man. So I can understand why the first offer would have been less than 20%. But if ultimately he would have got more than what he would have made as voluntary, he getting a shot at 4 world titles. There's no excuse, man. He should have taken it. Also, you know, I think Dillian Whyte is going to be asked out with a world title shot in 2019 because more than likely Alexander Usyk is moving up to heavyweight for his next fight, which should be announced shortly. Eddie has said, I heard him say in an interview that it's going to be at heavyweight, I think in Chicago, sometime in May. Once he moves up, he is WBO champion, man. He's going to get that mandatory. The WBO has not announced the mandatory yet. They have not made Dillian Whyte the mandatory. They are probably waiting. I think they're going to have maybe a convention or something. Maybe they're going to wait for that. But it makes all sense in the world with their cruiserweight champion potentially moving up. If he moves up with that, being champion, he's going to become mandatory over Dillian Whyte, man. Usyk's going to be entitled to that. And he's going to get that fight with AJ in the fall, or in the winter, whenever they decide to have that fight. That's the way I'm seeing it. WBO mandatory is next. And I think Dillian Whyte is going to be asked out with being WBO mandatory, man. So, I think in that regard, again, he made a big mistake. He should have grabbed the rematch. He should have grabbed the title shot with AJ when he had the opportunity. All right, you want the lion's share of the rematch? Talking about the third fight, he said that AJ was wanting, the bulk of the money. I can understand why that's a no-go. But then Eddie said they ultimately landed to 50-50. And then Eddie in this interview said that was 15 million pounds. So hell, he could have made it, in 2 fights if he won the fight with AJ and became, a full belt holder. He could have made what, at least 20 million in 2 fights and been a world champion. I think that's a winner, guys. I think that's a winner. He getting the voluntary shot. I think he should have taken that shit. All right. I can understand him not wanting to give, the bulk of the money in the rematch. But 50-50, I can understand that. I think that's reasonable considering that you're getting a voluntary defense. All right. Also, if he was to hold out, like he's talking about, holding out, being the mandatory, and then the rematch, with it not being a rematch. So if he wins the fight, and let's say that he doesn't fight AJ, all right, he's not gonna make 15 million fighting anybody else. No, he's not. AJ is the cash cow. He's the draw, and so why not go ahead and accept that fight, accept the rematch, accept the third fight with AJ, for the biggest purse that you could get at that time. So he could have had a title shot and then got, a guaranteed 15 million at least in the third fight. All right, and if he's fine fighting on April 20th at the O2, there should be no problem fighting on April 13th at Wembley. No problem at all. Same timeline as I have on my notes. All right, Eddie said that 50-50 is 15 million, as I said. 20%, which he would get in a mandatory. If it's a $30 million, $30 million is split between the two. 20% of 30 million is 6 million. All right. So that's what I'm assuming he would get as a voluntary. If the pot is 30 million, and he's getting 20%. All right. Now Eddie said that he would get more than 20%. So, if that's true, he should have taken it, man. If he would have got the 20, or more, he should have taken it, in my opinion. All right. Let's see, I have 12 million is 40%. AJ would be left with 18 million. Not gonna happen. Off $30 million personal split between the two. You know, because he's wanting the Wilder Fury split is what he's looking for. Which I can understand them saying, no to, because he does not have he don't even have the lineal belt, much less the WBC belt. So I can understand them saying what they're saying about that. All right. I think that's it, guys. I think Dillian Whyte made a big mistake, man. I think he made a big mistake. You guys can let me know what you think, and I will check in with y'all soon. Thanks for watching.